Those movies that so many people enjoy watching from time to time. And of course, it stars a true Hollywood icon, well, two icons when you think about it, Gene Kelly and Judy Garland. They appeared in the MGM classic Summer Stock. And what was interesting was this truly was Judy Garland's very last big screen outing for her studio that she'd been at for many years. Now, a few years ago, let me tell you, I was lucky enough to interview the son of the man that created one of the most iconic moments, not just of this movie, but literally of, well, Hollywood. We're talking, of course, about Howard Arlen and his son, who popped over to London at the time. He was appearing, very strange when I think about it now, in a very small cabaret club in the heart of London. Now, this is now part of what was the Regent's Palace Hotel, an incredible place when you think about it. If you ever came to London, it was London's most roomed hotel with over 1,000 bedrooms. The reason really why it sort of fell out of favour was simply the fact that sadly it was all made around the time when private bathrooms were not the norm. And of course, by the time they converted it, there were lots of problems. They put bathrooms at the end of the corridor. You get the picture. What was interesting about it, though, simply meeting him, the son of somebody who, as I say, is a true Hollywood icon. When you think about Summer Stock, it was an incredible movie, not just because of the talented Gene Kelly and, of course, Judy herself going through many different battles. Now, I've met many people associated with Judy over the years, including her daughters, Liza and Lorna Luft, even briefly meeting her son, Joey Luft. But the stories, as I say, when you look at the sort of bigger picture of, the movie with Renée Zellweger, starring as Judy Garland, doing incredibly well, I thought, it's not the true story. As many people who were there at that time, including the British comedian Jimmy Tarbuck, he said it wasn't like that at the Talk of the Town at all. But of course, movie gets licensed, doesn't it? But back to Summer Stock. In February 1950, they basically still needed something else to zing up the particular movie, They liked it, but they thought it was a run-of-the-mill thing, as it were. It wasn't going to break any box office success. So they decided to recall Judy back, who was supposed to be on holiday. Now, she'd been in hospital for a while and lost quite a bit of weight, hence the reason she looks radically different in the Get Happy segment. But while she was called back, she said, well, okay, don't mind the idea, etc. Now, Howard Arlen's son told me this story. Judy at first wasn't really keen to record Get Happy, but he thought this is a good song and he really needed to persuade her. So he was in her apartment in Hollywood and just kept humming elements of the tune. She kept saying, well, what's that bit again? Oh, play me that bit. What is it? Eventually, Judy got the full song out of him, and she liked it. So Julie went over to MGM to lay down the track. This is the way of their singing back. They certainly don't sing it live. In case you did, they thought they did. I'm sure you didn't. We're all very clever on this channel. And by the time she'd sort of listened to it a few times back, she thought this could be a hit. The same thing happened, he told me, when she first heard The Man That Got Away. Gene Kelly wasn't too keen on the idea of Judy returning. Simple sort of, shall we say, jealousy. He knew that this was a great song, she was a great dancer, and she could simply pull it off. Now, according to that particular day, Judy was having something of a negative breakdown, something that she had quite a lot of, as we all now know. And apparently when she was called to recall the song, basically they went to her dressing room and the director was appalled at what he'd found. Judy was literally pulling her hair out. There were tufts of it all over the dressing room and on the makeup desk, all that sort of stuff. Now, Howard Arlen's son basically said that, they had to get it in the can. It was already costing a lot of money. So cue the black fedora hat. Yes, that very stylish look that Judy wore in that particular segment. He said that it wasn't part of the deal. She was literally just going to have her hair slicked back and that was the gig. But because of her hair now looking such a mess, they decided the only way forward was to continue with the hat on. As everybody knows, Judy made that song and dance literally her own, and it became folklore and part of a wonderful act over so many years. Now, Judy had a habit, of keeping the costumes that she wore from her movies, in particular the glittery suit that she wore at the Palace engagement in 1967, which had been lifted from another aborted movie, Valley of the Dolls, earlier that year. She said that was the only thing that she came out of the movie with. Now, with Summer Stock, of course, they traded this with an MGM 78 release, and the song became a mega hit. The movie did okay. It didn't break any box office at the time, but this song literally became a standout moment. But back to the black fedora. Judy always believed at some point that some of these costumes would have nostalgic value, and she was right. Many years later, sadly after her death in 2010, the black hat that she wore in 1950 for Get Happy sold for over $10,000. As Mickey Rooney told me, Judy Garland was one of the most astute people he'd ever met in business. But she gave it all away for love, trusted various men with her millions, and totally believed that they were going to look after her, when in effect, the best person to look after herself was none other than Judy Garland. But as he pointed out, she never could truly see that. The bigger problem was, Judy failed, as many people know, to simply get happy. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.